cold and happy summer. We're rocking at 80 degrees and it's very, very warm. It's a hot day, not so humid. So we're here. I think we're the first guests for the Grand Lady Cruise. We took the harbor history tour. So it's like a boat ride exploring Buffalo, but you're gonna be, you know, in the river when you do. Yeah, this is a group on purchase, and I'm with my fiance. Hi, David.
Hello.
Are you excited?
Oh man, I'm so excited.
He's being sarcastic. So tell me about the area. What is Buffalo River Works like most? Is it an amusement park? I mean, I see a Ferris wheel.
They have a Ferris wheel. Host events. They do concerts there.
They're like a venue. So I want to show you what it looks like, you know, from front. Ta-da! So you can quite see Buffalo River Works from here. But like behind, are these silos? Like what's inside? It looks like an industrial. Yeah, it's silos, right?
Used to be grain silos.
So is that operational or not anymore?
No, I don't believe
Okay. So when we're in downtown Buffalo at Canal Side, we usually see these boats. So I don't know if some of them are private yachts.
so. They're not yachts, they're boats.
They're boats. I mean, how about the tiki boat? I saw that last year. The big Kahuna Tiki Tours. Yeah, but they weren't in Groupon, so I didn't, you know, I didn't entertain them. So we'll be on this one, the big one. Yeah. Do you think there's gonna be a tour guide later?
It's probably that guy.
The guy? I mean, someone's gotta drive the boat. Is this a yacht or a boat?
It's a yacht.
It's a yacht. So boats,
They considered a yacht.
that's a boat. Boat?
No, yeah.
Boat,
Boat.
yacht.
It's
That's
like
a
a
boat.
passenger boat.
Oh.
It's not a yacht.
Alright, come on. Let's go to this side. Wanna, you know, for the memories. It's too late, baby. There's no turning around. I got my hands in my pocket and my head. This is how I do when I think about you. Yup, yup. Look at the vessel. That's where we're gonna be later. Early birds. Oh, so there's a bar. Yeah. It's not loud. It's pretty. I never thought that you could break me apart. And then we're at the parking area. Is that a gator? No, it's a golf cart. Then they said, wait at this tent. We board at 3.
Yep.
Alright, I'm gonna turn it off and save some battery.
You got the tickets?
Oh no, our name should be there in the list. Yeah, no tickets needed. We're boarding Grand Lady Cruises.
Alright, last name?
Masigla and Fusani.
Sigla, and what did you say?
Fusani.
I don't have a Fusani.
Do you have two adults under me? Yep.
Yes, you're all set.
Thank you. We're boarding, guys. Good afternoon.
Welcome.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Do you want to go inside or outside? I just want to look inside. Cute. Aw, that looks nice.
Yeah, we're going to Narnia.
Okay, be careful. careful, there's stairs. There's a section here. It's like a conference room. Nice. There's a mini bar inside the passenger boat. Oh, it's cold here. In case you ever feel really hot.
Really? Well, that's because your skin's not used to it.
That's exactly why.
Sure it wasn't the,
Tuesday and so slow. Gone down the old man. Transistor radio.
You want a drink? You want a drink?
I don't know if it's casual or.
Oh, I'm not sure.
I feel like it's
Alright, my little kids, what would you like?
What do you mean?
Should we get like a drink? What's flower power? It's here.
Yes.
I mean, do we have alcohol?
Yes.
No, actually. When the boat moves, can we be here?
Yeah, you want to stand up?
Or right here? Let's find a seat. No, I think you can stand up. But yeah, that's the tour of the downstairs part of the passage. Hmm?
You know, in the AC.
Do you want to be in the AC? I mean, we're doing this for nature. It's just an hour, babe.
I don't think there's anywhere to sit up here.
Yeah.
Oh, that was whatever. I don't know. It's quite hot.
For nature.
No, I'm talking about the table.
Oh, the seat will. Oh yeah, not too much.
We have a 1964 crash. We got some kind of poker run going on today with this.
oh, yeah, cigar bones.
That's what they're all
Who's sponsoring that? I don't know. The captain was telling us because they used to go out.
Say
to
hi,
catch
babe.
grass, but now they're
You're not too warm?
the other one.
Okay.
Grass island, strawberry.
I'm glad it's not too humid today.
Yeah, because they used to go out to make the rails for the
We're moving.
That's my wake-up call. So, welcome to Grand Lady Buffalo Harbor History Tours. My name is Mike, and I'll be your narrator. In case you don't see who I am, I'm the guy with a beard that's walking around here. But let's get started right away. We got a couple hundred years of history to discuss, and about 90 minutes to do it. So, one of the things we always start with, you know, it's hard to imagine that Buffalo at one time was just a small frontier town. You're as far west as you could get in the United States. Well, a couple things changed that. We end up with the western terminus of the Erie Canal, and we become the gateway to the west. We have many people coming through Buffalo, going out to the Midwest, settling and starting farms. Those farms start to grow grain. They start to produce mountains of grain, millions and millions of barrels. At one time, Buffalo had more than 332 million bushels of grain coming through here in its port. That's over 3,000 lake freighters. So how does a frontier town get to be the 8th largest city in the United States and one of the richest cities with more millionaires per capita than any other city? Well, once this grain starts to come here, we start to build grain elevators. On the Buffalo River, where we are right now, there are 52 grain elevators. We're going to get into a lot more detail about all these events. But when they opened up the Seaway, then Buffalo kind of became the place they didn't have to stop. Because now they could bring that grain into Lake Erie, go through the Welland Canal, come out on Lake Ontario, out the St. Lawrence Seaway. There was no need to stop at Buffalo. They eliminated the middleman. So now we end up with all these grain elevators. What do you do with them when you're trying to revive the downtown and the waterfront area? Well, on our left-hand side of the boat is one of those great examples of how to repurpose one of these grain elevator facilities. What used to say GLF on it now is what I call the largest six-pack of that blue anywhere in the world, because those are silos that were actually converted into a microbrewery, and they actually make beer in there. But this is where it works in, and you can see there's zip lining. There goes somebody on a zip line up there now. But when they started this, they actually had 4 restaurants, a couple of taverns, and they have hatchet throwing, they got rock climbing, zip lining. So I got a question for you. It's just something for you to think about. But with hatchet throwing, zip lining, and rock climbing, and a lot of beer, what can go wrong? So. But this originally was a grain elevator. It was a co-op between the United States and Canada. And back on this section to our left is where the hockey rinks are. And right now those hockey rinks are used for indoor hockey, roller hockey, martial arts demonstrations, yoga. So another of the grain elevators that are coming up on the left-hand side, there's a cluster of elevators. There's 4 silos very close together. This used to be the Kellogg facility. These Kellogg's weren't from Battle Creek. These Kellogg's actually dealt in linseed oil. This was the Spencer Kellogg family. The smaller cluster is actually operated now by St. Mary's Cement Company, and they get a fireboat in the whole world. She's 125 years old this year. She's actually fire engine number 20. The left-hand side, we're past the General Mills. I hope that they're baking today, otherwise we can smell some Cheerios. But they created Cheerios here in 1941, and they originally called them Cheery Oats. Quaker Oats got them started, forced them to change the name, and so that's when they shortened it to Cheerios. If you look at the top of the General Mills, you will see that there is blue stripe, and there's a couple letters, and then a number and an expiration date. If those first 2 letters are BU, that came out of this Buffalo plant. Also in the distance on the left, you see the white, but you'll notice those 2 plants are very separate. That's because keep the gluten away from the oats so that the cereals can be gluten-free. On the right-hand side, this was an old train station, but at one time there were grain elevators all lined up. This train station was built in 1919 with the Delaware Railroad and Western train station. Products on the bottom, a lot of veterans. Tribute to Buffalo's shipping history. If you look onto the left side, you'll see there's two sections of grain silos there. That is the connecting elevator. But the section with the 5 silos that we see on this side, those are the last silos built in Buffalo. They were built in 1954. That now is actually repurposed into a backdrop for a light show. Every night they light that up with lights going up and down there. They did have some laser projections that would look like in the winter time. It's all year, so in the winter time you'd see snowflakes. In the springtime you'd see flowers. But that's every night they do that.
Canal side.
On the right-hand side, this was called the Central Wharf. Now it's called Canal Side. But the Central Wharf, back in the 1800s, was 3-story tall buildings, all connected. They were about 1,000 feet long, and on that is where they actually used to determine
USS
who was going to get what grain, what ship was going to deliver it to what grain elevator, and then it would go from there. But on your right-hand side, you'll see this little slip here. There's a building that says Buffalo. Next to it is what is called the commercial slip. That is one of the most important places in the history of the United States because that was the western terminus of the Erie Canal. So if you started your journey in Albany heading westward, this is where that journey would end. This exact spot where this little slip is. In fact, back in there, you can see the replica of the Seneca Chief Canal boat that's going to go from Buffalo to New York City in September to celebrate 200 years of the Erie Canal. The original canal was 4 feet deep, 40 feet wide, 363 miles long. It was completely hand-dug, shovels and pickaxes. And that's why you got to think, I thought that might have been a good idea. But it turned out to be a game changer. The Erie Canal did for transportation what the internet does for communication. On the right-hand side, we're going by the Buffalo Military and Naval Park. We'll talk more about that on the way back, but this was actually the first attraction at the waterfront. The Naval Park started the 2 ships that came here, were the Little Rock, which is the one that we see on our right-hand side, and the Sullivans is between it and the shoreline. And Buffalo went to the Philadelphia Naval Yard to get the Sullivans, and because the Little Rock wouldn't go up the Arkansas River, they said, how about you want the Little Rock as well? And so we took that too. The submarine that we see the nose on the right-hand side, that came a little bit later, 1988. It was a museum in Connecticut that they were letting go, and it was kind of getting into disrepair, so Buffalo took it. On the right where you see the flag, they were located there back in 1843 was the very first steam-powered grain elevator. It was constructed by a guy named Joseph Dart. Robert Dunbar was an engineer that helped him develop it. But up until this point, used to unload the grain by hand, and it would take 50 men all day to unload 1,000 bushels. Some of these ships had 8,000 bushels, so it would take the better part of a week. Well, once Dart creates his grain elevator, he's actually able to unload 1,000 bushels an hour. They thought that was going to be the end. They thought, we had a lot of Irish here unloading those ships. But When he builds his elevator, it opens for the 1843 season. Well, these Irish here were writing letters home, come to Buffalo, because that is the beginning of the Irish potato famine. So Buffalo is recognized as some place that the Irish came to find relief from the potato famine. One of the reasons Buffalo got the problem was that they had a horse that nobody wanted, so he took it. And the horse was a blind horse, so they actually took this blind horse, put it on a work scow with this contraption, this pile driver, and they built this dam across the river. They broke the dam systematically. That dam, when it was broken, would move yards and yards down, and actually opened up a new channel and filled up the new channel. And that's how they built this. It actually took 227 miles. On the left-hand side, that's the oldest lighthouse. It's also the oldest structure of Buffalo in its original foundation. The courthouse is a little bit older, but it actually So we're heading out into Lake Erie. Great Lakes. I don't know how many folks realize, but actually the Great Lakes hold 20% of the world's fresh water. So we do a lot of tours for other countries, and they're amazed at how big these lakes are. They want to call them seas, and they tell them that we do call them the inland seas. Down the center of the lake, you'll see what it's called the water intake. I used to like to tell people that was boat access Pizza Hut only, but it's not. That is the Buffalo water intake, and that intakes 125 million gallons of water to the residents of Buffalo every day, and it actually transports that water by gravity. There's a 12-foot diameter tunnel under the lake at the water intake out there. It's actually 22 feet below the lake bottom, and when it gets to the Colonel Ward pumping station about a mile away, and we'll see that on the right-hand side of the river, it is 75 feet below the lake bottom. So it moves it by gravity, and then that's where the water is sent to a reservoir, and then it's treated, and then it heads to the residents of Buffalo for their daily water use. This rock wall that's on our right-hand side, this was actually the breakwater, the very first one created. That rock wall was put there in 1848. And the idea was that they wanted to protect the shoreline, but the other part was Buffalo had so many lake freighters coming in here, or actually in those days they were more cargo sailing vessels. But there were so many of them coming in here, they had to find a way to relieve the congestion in the river. So they actually built two separate basins, the Erie Basin and the Ohio Street Basin. And that was to relieve the congestion. And then inside the Erie Basin, there were actually slips that would connect to the Erie Canal. So the barges never had to come back out to the western terminus. They could go right to the Erie Canal, right from the basin. And inside the basin, there were a couple of grain elevators. There was a coal trestle. There was actually a couple of warehouses as well. In fact, one of the biggest warehouses in that Erie Basin was called Templeton Landing. So that's where the restaurant gets their name from. heading into the Erie Basin Marina now. So this was all converted back in the early 1970s. Remember we talked about how industrial the waterfront was? Well, the Buffalo residents never had any access to the waterfront. Between the Erie Canal, the Niagara section of the thruway, it's always been cut off. So they wanted to, it was actually Mayor Masiello who kind of championed this project. And when he was mayor, he wanted to make sure the residents of Buffalo got more access into the waterfront. So they created this Erie Basin Marina. And they started to put, these are townhouses and condominiums, and there's some apartment buildings in here. And I think actually when they first started to put them here, they couldn't give them away. Now it's now 800,000 to 1.2 million to live on the Buffalo waterfront. But if you took a look at the Erie Basin Marina from Google Maps, you would see. You would see that the Erie Basin Marina is actually shaped like a buffalo. If you look at it on Google Maps, we're coming in, not the head, we're actually coming in the other way. And then to the right would be the back, and on the left you'll see some of those cliffs that I was referring to. Those represent the legs of the American bison or the buffalo. So the original Templeton Landing would have been on this pier that's just to our left. This is where that original Templeton Landing was located. And then what used to be slips that led to the Erie Canal were these water inlets that you see now on the left-hand side. And again, those represent the lakes of the Buffalo. And the way that City Hall actually points toward the lake, there were vents on the bottom that would capture the lake breeze and push that breeze through the offices, and that's how they cooled the building off in the very beginning. Of course, it's funny that, you know, air conditioning was created in Buffalo, but, you know, a day like today, you say, oh, thank God. But actually, it was invented by the Carrier Company, and the Carrier Company was a machining operation, and they wanted to measure parts, and because of the change in the temperature, you never got an accurate measurement. So they wanted a constant temperature room, and they did that through by creating, they're going to kind of make that an amphitheater, and they're going to put it in a little bowl.
I didn't even know there were that many townhomes over there.
Where?
Like all over there.
I thought that's the part. I don't know if that's the part.
It's the one near your house.
Really?
You know when we come off the highway on Porter,
Yeah.
and you know how there's we make the left to go
That's
to your
it?
house. If we make the right,
Yes, if you make the right, you go here.
and then you can make a left into the park. But you can't go there, obviously. They're doing construction. Probably been working on it for like a couple of years.
Too long.
yeah.
You can't.
I saw the line. I'm like,
One of the things that, here's the amphitheater we're all
Yours is
by on the
ginger ale.
right-hand side, but one of the things that they're going to do here, they consulted Buffalo Niagara Waterkeeper on what they should do with this shoreline. So we'll see that this is all concrete on the right-hand side, and they call that a hard shoreline. So what the plan is they're going to make this what's called a soft shoreline. So they're going to get rid of all that concrete. They're going to terrace the park into the waterway, and then they're going to put natural plants there that are native to Western New York, and then it'll be a place for fish and birds to nest and spawn. So that's the plan for where all this concrete is. But there's also going to be a couple of soccer pitches there and some softball fields and baseball fields, but they're going to be
It's running.
beyond the waterfront.
why is the screen up?
Sleep mode, you know, but it's recording.
Oh.
Save battery, you know. Yeah.
What is that? You know what that is?
Water intake. That water intake opened in 1872. And the reason they had that water intake is because they used to pull water from directly off the shoreline here to our right. And it would go into this pumping house. At that time, the building that's on our toward the aft of the boat now, that is called the Massachusetts Pumping Station, but at one time it was called 4 times the size it is now, and it was called the New Hampshire Street Pumping Station. But they used to pull water right. They used to pull water right from the. But the problem was that the water was contaminated with all the raw sewage going into the. What the raw sewage was going in.
We're turning.
Okay, so the raw sewage was going into the river as well as some of the industrial waste. So every time it rained in Buffalo, we had a breakout of cholera. So they decided they wanted to put the water intake 1,000 feet out, and that's what that water intake on the right-hand side of the boat now. That's what it did. It is still the backup. They'll still use it occasionally to fill up water towers in the city of Buffalo, just in case something happens to that main water intake that's the round building out in the middle of the lake. And then that's why, and this wasn't far enough out. So what they did, that's why they built the round building where it is, that Buffalo water intake.
We walked
because
this
that is in
entire
an area
stretch.
called the Emerald Channel. And the Emerald Channel is a current of clean water that comes
Now
out
I
of
can
Lake
see where
Erie
it ends.
in those days. And it had
Oh,
a
yeah.
greenish
Because
hue
we
to
never
it,
make
and
the
it
trip on the
sparkled in
other side.
sunlight, so they call
It'll take us 2
Emerald Channel.
hours if we do it by
And that
foot.
water took a lot less treatment to get clean than the water coming out of the one under the Peace Bridge already in the shoreline. So. The bridge and path on the left, that's all part of the Erie Canalway bike path. A lot of folks ride that. You can start at Canal Side or start in Albany and go the whole length, all 363 miles of the Erie Canal on that bike path.
We just keep this here, right?
You should bring it back out. Are you gonna grab it on?
They would be mad if I do.
Why?
Oh no, I'm just
I'm
joking.
told that's actually part of the New York State.
Oh, no. Hey, want another one, man.
The New York State Empire State Trail. Anyway, so and that's over 500 miles long.
Let's see where it ends. So we're really curious to know, because we never reached the end when we attempted to hike this area. They say canal side, right? It stretches all the way to canal
So I had
side.
mentioned that the canal, the original Erie Canal, actually was part of this. And this is where that actually, the original canal, because typically if someone asks, well, where did the Erie Canal come through Buffalo? Well, actually, if you ride on Route 190, you're riding on where the original canal came in. Which is across the street or one of the streets, the Black Rock Canal. It went back into Buffalo, right on our left. This is the dock for the West Side Rowing Club. And the third dock is where that Erie Canal went right back into the city of Buffalo to go all the way to what we know to be Canal Side. So it was planned for the University of Wisconsin back in 1902 because that was his home state, Frank Lloyd Wright. But they never built it, and it was the plans were lost, and they showed up at the University of Buffalo Frank Lloyd Wright archives. So Buffalo got the permission to build it. Now we're careful to say that that's a Frank Lloyd Wright designed boathouse because Frank Lloyd Wright was intimate in all his structures, and he was not here when that was built in 2002. But most ardent Frank Lloyd Wright fans will come here and visit the Fontana Boathouse. They go to Great Cliff, Darwin Martin House, and also the gas station that's in the Pierce Arrow Museum. On the left-hand side, the white building that we see, that was actually a Chief Petty Officers Club, or a CPO club, for the Naval Marine recruiting base that was there. It's still there, but it's not very active anymore. That is closed now. It's been a warehouse, just a storage area for quite a while. Coming up on the left-hand side next to it, that is the Buffalo Yacht Club. That's the third oldest yacht club in the United States. It was actually started by 12 guys in 1860. It might be a little more expensive than it is today. They have a lot of youth programs. You can see these ramps on boats, sailboats that they use. That's what you see. Now, if you look at the last one that we passed on the right side, you'll see what looks like a dome. Scare the geese away. But once the geese realize that the thing doesn't move take a look at the breakwater on the right-hand side, you'll see that it is taking quite a beating. You can see the big chunks of concrete that are missing. A few years ago, part of the lake was frozen. And 7 weeks to go from western New York to the east coast. And it would cost you $100 a ton. So now Clinton is going to take his boat and he's going to go down the Erie Canal with his couple of barrels of Lake Erie water. Well, it's a big celebration because this was going to be America's canal. And so he starts his journey.
The view is great from here. I'm wondering why no one is here.
Canada all the way from Buffalo, all the way to New York City Harbor. Well, when he left Buffalo, they fired the very first.
So the crew and then the view is just great. It's better on this end.
That was the fastest thing in the world of that day. It was an hour and 20 minutes for that cannon fire to get to Buffalo and boom, 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 all the way to New York City. And then they actually returned that. Now, Clinton didn't come
See?
back on the return.
So from here, you could see the front part of the boat. We're back to the Sullivan warship.
You can really see the impact of the Erie Canal, not only in transportation. So I mentioned how much it cost when it was built, when you would go up on land, it was average 7 weeks, $100 a ton. When they built the canal, if you were just going right through, you could get there in 6 or 7 days.
Colorful houses.
So, economically, it's huge. But when you look at the population density maps of the United States, after 1825 and 20 hours ago, you can just see how the population grew in central United States. It really worked. You know, Jefferson wanted to populate the Louisiana.
Oh, we're almost back.
Dismantled and put in warehouses and barns and basements. Well, when they heard Buffalo was looking for a merry-go-round or
Souvenir.
a carousel, they donated it back to Buffalo. Well, it went to the official carousel museum, which was this.
Back at Canal Side.
It went to the same building it was built in. And volunteers put it all back together. Created a couple of new events before that. And eventually, the dollar run. They asked for a dollar donation, at least a dollar donation. So if you want to throw a couple extra bucks in the bucket, that's okay. But the music for it is supplied by World's Organ made in Kentucky.
When do you think the station's gonna materialize?
I don't know. They still have to do demo and
Probably 5 to 10 years. Ah, too long.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense to do
True.
that. I just like that. I didn't know that was planned.
I actually thought this was a brewery.
We would be in That's the
Yeah.
huge green elevator.
Like the resurgence?
Cruise ships
Yeah,
in
based from the
here,
pictures.
excursion boats in here. It's hard to believe. You gotta see some pictures. I'm at the Buffalo Harbor Museum. We have over 100,000 pictures, and I'm always perusing these pictures, trying to identify. Left-hand side, we had elevators like the C.J. Wells. There's a huge one, the Wilson elevator, which Sam Wilson's son, he was the father of Buffalo. And then on the other side, there was the Sturgis. We had the Great Eastern, the Empire elevator was over here. So we would be in the midst of all these giant elevators. At one time, I mentioned Buffalo had 52 elevators. There's only 14 elevators still standing in Buffalo. Only 4 of them are in use. And 2 of them are actually cement elevators now. I mentioned St. Mary's.
It is a train station.
This area to the left,
It's a train.
you'll see some different people. This is
It's in the same place as the last one.
There's an up
They're
there.
doing a lot of the other also.
I have never been up there, Joey, but there's an upstairs.
We're going up to the Michigan Avenue Bridge now. Michigan Avenue Bridge is what they call a vertical lift bridge. So originally, there was a swing bridge here, and then they built a jackknife bridge, and then they built this vertical lift bridge. The vertical lift bridge has 2 towers. At the tops of those towers are 2 rectangles, and they're filled with concrete. And those 2 weights together actually add up to the weight. So when those are
I didn't realize the bridge was on there.
That's why
and then when they want to do it,
I know, but I didn't realize.
pull them up and the bridge drops back down. Now, there's a famous story about this bridge here because in Michigan they didn't have a bridge.
Usually
In
they split,
1959, it got knocked into the river. And it actually happened in January.
You're still in Chicago, aren't you? Or are you just...
It was like the oldest liberation we were talking about.
1959. There's a ship parked about 2 miles up the river called the Gilbert Shires. And the Gilbert Shires was moored at the concrete central elevator, which was full of so when they used to run that run, they would go to the ship that was mooring and pull the railroad, because once the railroad started the ship, they could ship all year round. So they needed to have something. So the Shires is down there in January of 1959. We had a January and all the ice starts to break up in the Buffalo River. Then we have a hard freeze, and all that ice floating around blocks up and creates a dam on the Buffalo River. Now it starts to flood the village of West Seneca. Then on January 21st, 1959, we have another January thaw. It's raining. The wind is coming out of the east, which is unusual. Breaks apart that dam. That ice breaks loose, gets between the Shires and her dock, and breaks the Shires right off of her ropes. All her moorings are let loose, and she starts to meander all by herself down the Buffalo River. Nobody's on there. It's dark. Nobody knows she's broken loose, and she starts to make her way down this river. Well, she makes it about 1.5 miles, and she hasn't bumped into anything yet. But docked in another elevator called the Standard is called the Michael Bay Tewksbury. That boat is about 90 feet longer. The Shires was 415 feet, and the Shires and the Tewksbury was 515 feet. So it was about 90 feet longer. Well, that's when she decides to hit something. Well, as she's making a turn, she wallops.
The tour is done. That was fun. Very informative, very historic.
Thank you.
Nice
Take
meeting
care. Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for the tour. Very informative.
Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course, have a great rest of your day.
Have a good night.
From the boat. Have a great rest of your day, guys. Hi.
Thanks.
That wasn't bad. I loved it.
I want a Joe Soya.
Why? What's this fascination with jet skis?
They're just fun.
And there's no one to bump into. It's just water.
Yeah.
You're right. And you'll be fine as long as you're
If I had
wearing
a
a
jet
life
ski, I'd
vest.
go out to Lake Waterfront like every single week. Every single week.
Why not here? Here, close to the water.
I'm just comfortable.
In Lake Rush.
Yeah. It's a small lake.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to worry about like getting lost. I don't have to worry about the Canadian Coast Guard like trying to kill me because I'm accidentally in Canadian water.
Oh, that makes sense. All right, that ends our vlog for today and our trip. Bye. Did you have fun?
I did.
Bye bye.